Today, I was going to talk about a couple things and basically what's next. So you've got to this point in your school, and this point in your school is because of all the things you've learned, put into application in your school, and it's got you to this point. Just like Charles last year was at a certain point, he was grossing $30,000. He made a lot of changes this year as far as his upgrade programs. He did a lot of changes in his pricing. He made changes in his camp days in his summer camp. And now he's evolved, instead of a $30,000 school, he's evolved into a $43,000 school. So that's a huge change just in 12 months. So let me share my screen and let me give you some ideas on what may be next for you. So I'm going to kind of go over these and give you some ideas, and if you want to ask some questions, we can. So what's next? Again, everything that you have right now is a result of things you've done in the past, things you know, things you've learned, books you've read, seminars you've taken, and it's got you to this point. When you go into the next point, you're going to be doing something new because you have to change where you are in order to evolve to the next level. So maybe you're going to concentrate on your gross. I was sitting down with the Baker boys the other day, and we started thinking, okay, what can they do? Because they're not at a $200 student value, so what can they do to improve their gross? So I started talking to Tom. I go, if you went from a 6-month welcome program to a 7th-month welcome program, would you sign up as many people? He goes, yeah, of course, and it's just one more month. I go, with the same amount of people pay in full? He goes, yeah, we get about 20. He says, we get about 20 people per month to pay in full. I go, if you just did something simple as that, if you just added one more month on, you would get 20 people paying $150 more on their paid in full, and you would increase your gross by $3,000. So that's just going from a 6-month program to a 7-month program. I said, that sounds like a no-brainer. I go, what if you did 9 months? He goes, I don't know. I go, well, maybe that's a price point and a time that we could just experiment with. So I said, let's just get out your calculator. What would it cost for 9 months? And I think he sees $150 a month. So it's $1,350 for a paid in full 9-month program. I go, well, that's a big difference. I go, we got to make a good incentive for people to want to pay in full. So let's price that at $1,495. So it's $1,495 if they finance. $1,350 if they pay in full. So you're taking in $450 more per person. You get 20, that's $9,000 you can improve your gross just by charging 9 months instead of 6 months. So we had one of his program directors goes, well, I'm not sure we could do that. I go, well, thing is, you got to experiment with it. You've got to try it for a couple months. We can always go back, but it just seems like a great opportunity to improve your gross. So that was just one thing that we talked about. So here's got a school established, 450 students. What can we do to increase the gross? Right now he's at about $60,000 to $65,000 a month. He wants to jump over to 70. I go, well, this could be one thing you can do and increase your gross by that much, not signing up any more students, not filling your classes or packing your classes. It's just a method to improve your gross. Location. When I say location is maybe it's time to move your location, maybe it's time just to redo your location. So when you come into your school, does it look like this is a great school? Kind of think about it as if you went to a hotel, if you went to a Motel 6 and you went to a Hyatt Regency, definitely you're going to have two different experiences, and that experience is going to happen as soon as you walk in the door. So does your school look like a Motel 6? Does your school look like a Hyatt Regency? Even Hyatt Regency may be going off the wall a little, but you know what I'm talking about. So is it time for a facelift, new mats, expanded mirrors, improved bathrooms, whatever you can do to your facility and location? Is it time to build up your staff? This is another thing. I was talking to bakers. They go, well, it's nice being really busy, but we also want some free time. And so one of their things over the next 3 months is to be able to turn over parents' night outs. So they're not going to do parents' night outs. Parents' night outs is going to be completely done by staff. They're not going to be doing birthday parties anymore. That's going to be done by staff. So we came up with a plan. So the next parents' night out, they're going to do it. Their new staff members who are going to be assigned to it are going to watch them do it. The next month, the staff is going to actually do the parents' night out. The Baker boys are just going to be watching. If the staff starts needing help, they're there to assist. The third month, the staff is going to do it completely. The Baker boys are in the building just in case. They're not going to do any of the work unless something falls apart and they have to. The fourth month, the staff is going to be doing all the parents' night outs. So that's their plan from getting out of parents' night outs. They want to have their Friday nights off. You can't blame them. You know, they've had their school for a long time. It's time to delegate. So they have that plan for their parents' night out, and they have that training plan for birthday parties. Next birthday party, they're going to do it, and the person who's going to take over the job is going to be watching. The one after that, the person who's going to do it is actually going to do it. The Baker boys are going to assist. And then the third one, the new people are going to do the birthday party all by themselves, and the Bakers are going to just be standing aside just in case something happens. Your website, is your website up to date? A lot of people have had their website, and it just kind of sits in the background. They've never really worked on any more presentations or maybe put current pictures up. So maybe it's time your next step to grow is to improve your website. It could be, I know Williams worked a lot with this on our Wednesday meetings. It's getting the path down and the flows down. So maybe your website's there, but you're not really using your website like a rainmaker in that someone can come on your page, read about your page, pick a class, sign up for the class, do their waiver reliability, and start getting a flow of confirmation. Maybe it can be promotional boosts. Some of our biggest schools, their key marketing is promotional boosts. You know, websites are good, Facebook is good. When you do a promotional booth and you're chest to chest, nose to nose with someone, you're building rapport, you're finding out what's happening in their life, that why do they need martial arts at this time of their life. You can't get that by just a website or people reading, but when you get out into community with promotional booths, you have that opportunity. So maybe the next thing for you to grow is, I'm not going to do promotional booths when they come up. I'm going to make sure I'm looking in my community and finding out what's happening, where people are getting together, and how I can get in front of other people that I've never met and start building rapport about my martial arts school. Maybe it's just like I was talking about the Bakers. You know, you have black belts and you go, man, my black belts quit. Well, I think the Bakers have a pretty good thing designed for retention, in that if you're a black belt, you're always training for something else. What's coming next for you as a black belt? Well, maybe when I first got my first degree, and I start thinking about my second degree, but that's 2 years away. That's a long time. But if I have to start my first pretest in 6 months, man, I better get busy. So it really doesn't give me time to rest after I get my black belt. When I did the presentation of belts this past week, I talked to the people in the audience about my experience of getting my black belt and my experience of being a black belt and having students go in different directions. I told them that I've had students that went out to be national tournament champions. I mentioned Lauren Carney. She got invited onto Team Paul Mitchell. That was a huge thing. I mentioned another student, Joe Fiorello, who got his black belt at the same time as Lauren Kearney. He recently got back from Japan. He was a stunt person in one of Jackie Chan's new movies. That's where martial arts took him. I talked about different students of mine who went into opening their own schools. So there's a lot of different things that you can do with your black belt. You can choose that, hey, I got my black belt and I'm going to stop. Or I can choose that, where am I going to go with this? Am I going to be a competitor? Am I going to be a teacher? And I'm going to be an ambassador? Where am I going to take my martial arts training? So the whole idea is to give purpose. So 2 times a year black belt testing gives you a good opportunity to retain your black belts and give them a direction to, now I've got my black belt, what am I going to do with it? Parents' night outs. You know, I'm looking here, I see Dave Prida there. He's had a couple of challenges with parents' night outs. He's also had some recent success with parents' night outs. I remember Charles Jarnigan having a hard time getting 6 to 8 people his Parents Night Out, and now he's saying he's doing $1,500 a month on revenue for Parents Night Out. So if you're not doing it, or if you're not doing it to a level where you're getting that type of results, that could be your next thing, the next thing to really grow. You may be sitting in your school going, everything's going pretty good, but I love teaching martial arts, but teaching 8 to 10 hours a day, 7 days a week is getting a little bit old. I like to be able to step out and have an evening for myself. So maybe the time now is to do a certified instructor training program. So you start getting a bench strength of students 11 years old and up, and they're learning responsibility, they're learning leadership skills, they're learning presentation skills, they're learning how to assist in class, and later on they're going to be growing into instructors. You're building bench strength. Not only are you training in that, but they're also paying you for that training. So now this opportunity for you to move off the mat is also an opportunity for you to increase your income. Melanie Strauss has a school in Miami. She's taking this is the next big thing for her. She's starting in June with a quarterly instructor training. So she put out a notice that in June, I think it's the first week of June, on a Saturday, she's doing a 3-hour level 1 instructor training program. And her whole goal is to get like 20 people at this program. They're going to be paying $150 a piece for 3 hours of instructor training on a Saturday. Her and I start putting the curriculum together for her, so she's got that going. And from that, she's hoping to get 10 or 12 people to convert from this one-time event to her CIT program. So now they're paying another $50 per month. And she'll do the same thing the next quarter. She'll have a level 2 instructor training. So this is her plan for starting to build bench strength. Not only, again, is she getting new staff, but she's getting paid to develop that staff. We already talked about delegation. Delegation, again, for the bakers, what they want to do is get out of doing birthday parties and parents' night outs. So that's their first part of delegation. You may already have good staff members. You just may still be a control freak and don't want to leave the floor. Well, maybe it's time to put some trust in that staff that you have and let them run things, and you just sit in the back and watch and let them rise that level of expectations you have. And then the next step could be leaving for the evening and actually trusting for them. So, maybe delegation is your next step for growth. New students. New students sounds easy, and there's all kinds of stuff on the internet. We can build a huge funnel for you, this and that. Whatever you can do for new students, make sure you do enough of it. I've been talking about having that marketing bucket on your desk. Your marketing bucket is all the stuff that you have for marketing that you're going to sign up new students for. Most people have a very small bucket. They may be doing rack cards this month, and maybe they're going to do birthday parties. Well, that's two things. Two things will probably get you 4 or 5 students. If you want to sign up 20 students, you got to start filling that marketing bucket. Maybe it's teaching benefits. A lot of schools talk about benefits of martial arts. Parents don't really want their kids to learn fighting. They want them to learn the confidence and self-esteem. Is that just a byproduct of your school? Are you actually teaching the benefits? Do you have a program that supplements that in your school, like the Black Belt Excellent program? That's a great program that keeps you aware that martial arts isn't just physical, but it's also mental, and how am I going to blend those together? Maybe it's upgrades. You've got a great program. People are coming in, they're signing up, they're going in month to month, but maybe you need an upgrade program. So now they're getting additional services. Now they're training for Black Belt or a leadership program. That's a great upgrade. Those upgrades, now you have the same amount of students, but the same amount of students are paying more, so you're increasing your revenue. Add-ons. I know Dave was just at William Pierce's, and he's starting doing an add-on with a little bit of parkour. Some people do add-ons with hyper. I see add-ons with Kali. But having additional programs where your students can actually sign up and take an additional class one time a week, and that's $55 a month, You get 10 people doing that each month. You got the same amount of students, but you're increasing your revenue $500 or $600. Invitationals. Invitationals are trial classes for your add-on programs. So now you have add-on programs. So, okay, it's pretty cool. I've got a competition team. I've got a demo team. I've got CIT training. I've got a weapons class. These are all additional classes, but people aren't signing up. Well, maybe we have to make it more special. Instead of people just signing up when they want to, we're going to invite them. We see some potential in these students. We know that to take their next step in training, they should set their goals a little higher. So we're going to invite 15 students after the next graduation. They're going to come in and they're going to take a trial class for Hyper. Out of those 15 people, we're going to make the special offer. If 10 of them upgrade to Hyper, again, now we're getting people doing something else in the school. It's going to add to retention. It adds to their excitement in training. It's going to get them to give us more referrals. At the same time, it increases our gross. I'm going to just skip to the bottom because we talked a lot about this last week. Tom Baker was on a couple of meetings, and he was talking about the importance of continuing your education. He gave some ideas of different books to read. So maybe it's time to elevate your skills in speaking. It could be your skills in personal finances. It could be, how am I going to create more time for myself, more time for family, maybe more time for vacations. Maybe I just want to continue my education in a different aspect of martial arts. So these are all things that you can start looking. So, okay, it'd be really nice if I was doing all that. That's not going to happen next month or the month after that. So what can I take out of all this that I feel comfortable, or maybe I feel a little challenged? It's going to move me out of my comfort zone, but that's okay. That's the way I'm going to grow. So let me pick one or two of these things, get some extra help on that, and that's where I'm going to start growing my school. So that was my message for today. Of course, I think I forgot to record this, but just means I'm going to have to do it again. Do I have any questions on this? Nothing.
I mean, I have a ton of questions, but this is the first time I ever jumped on these meetings.
Jen, where are you from?
I'm from Brooklyn, New York.
No, excellent.
Yeah, so I'm a hyper school. I'm on Rainmaker. I've been on Rainmaker since September. It's been amazing. It sounds exciting for these big numbers. You know, I'm looking at my numbers. I'm like, damn. But, you know, for me, my numbers are – I'm in a highly and Brooklyn's very high populated. I have like 3 of the same Taekwondo schools on the same avenue as me.
Wow.
And I'm a very different guy, which is nice. But it's really nice. I took a lot of notes. But I'm happy to be here.
How
looking forward to I'm currently I believe I'm at 80 right now. Last year at this time, I didn't have my own space, and I was at 30 before I was at Hyper. And I joined Hyper, and I opened my open space in December. So I've been open since December, and I'm about at 80 students. I'm grossing about 13,000 a month right now, opposed to my old one, which was like 4,000. I'm in, very small school. But I'm looking to get that number to, for me, it would be a good start to have it at anywhere from 20,000. That would be a nice marking point. I'm having struggle. I joined the Hyper program. So instead of charging people per month extra, I did like a down payment of like $250, which was something people did, but I felt like there was such a struggle. And I think it was more on my end of trying to explain why they're paying. People are like, why am I paying $250? I'm like, because you're taking extra classes. I'm letting you be at the school more, but I already paid this price. I'm like, so I find myself a lot of times tripping over myself, kind of because I grew up in like the old school mentality, old school. I did Korean karate, and there wasn't like a million programs. So I'm learning how to do these things. I was an extreme martial artist. I competed as well. But now I'm learning the business side. I'm a technician learning the business side. And I see 100% with the, letting instructors do things. I'm pretty much doing everything right now, which I don't want to do forever.
Is your core curriculum Taekwondo?
It's a Korean karate system. I do implement full contact kickboxing. Of course, it's like moderated. We work a jab, cross, hook, round kicks. I'm a jiu-jitsu practitioner, so I'm trying to implement it. I'm kind of stuck on my old style still too. I was extreme martial arts, but I taught for the last 9 years, traditional Korean karate, which is we did kata, we did forms, and we did sport fighting, which was point fighting.
So that's your core. So if I brought my 8-year-old son or grandson in there, he'd be learning a Korean-based program.
A Korean-based program with kickboxing, yes.
And then how long would he be taking lessons before you introduce him to Hyper so he could add on that?
Well, I would wait till graduation, which would be about maybe 3 months. And right now I'm kind of putting the kids who are, I guess, the kids who are doing the best right now as the invitation, and kind of making the kids who are not getting invitation work harder towards that invitation.
And then once you invite my grandson to take Hyper, I'd pay $250.
Yes, and it would be for the year, and he would receive his first weapon and his Hyper uniform.
And how many Hyper classes would he take a week?
We have 2 half-an-hour classes, and then we have our weapons and tricks training. So you can pick either tricks, weapons, and you can be in those things. So basically, I'm giving too many things all at once.
Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah. So what you want to do is get everyone on your core program. When Roland and those guys designed Hyper, they were estimating that 20% of the core martial arts schools would take Hyper. It just wasn't for everyone. So if you had 200 students, you'd have like 40 to 50 students doing your Hyper program, which I think is a pretty good estimate. I think that $250 for the year is way too low, because most people, when you look at their curriculum and the way they base their prices, it's usually $15 to $20 per class. So yes. If you had a student come into 4 extra classes per month because of Hyper, that'd be $60 to $100 to $80 per month. So yes. In 12 months, you're talking anywhere from $600 to $795 for Hyper, not to $250.
Okay. So could you give me like a rate down? Pretend you're Johnny Karate and you have a program that's $179 a month. That's our basic, and you come twice a week. Greg wants to join Hyper. What would you say?
I like going in around $60 per month, with maybe $600 a year if they pay in full.
Okay, so $60 a month.
$60 a month is $15 per class. That's reasonable for a third class or for a Hyper class. That would be for 1 class a week. It wouldn't be for the 4 that you gave me for Hyper. Yes. I think we should level that off too and start me on a level 1 Hyper, and then recommend a second class as I went on. But I always try to refer to things as steps. Like when I come to do an introductory class at your school, that's step 1. The next step is to do a 6-month program, or what do you have as your core program. Next step after that would be adding additional training, would be like the Hyper class. But if you'd want to get together and just talk about this just one-on-one, we can spend time and I'll just work one-on-one with you and get some good ideas. But just something like that could make a huge difference in the income for your school.
And the biggest fear is I have not been able to do summer camp stuff, and I want to do summer camp. I just don't know if I'm going to have the staff. What are just ideas to try to get new people in the summer when for us martial arts schools, it's like, it's this dead zone. It's terrible. It's like, the summer is like the best part of the year for most people. For us, it's like, man, the summer's here. I got to get another job. I hate it.
Are you on the page, the Facebook page, Rainmakers Business Solutions?
I think Valerie just added me today. I did not know about it.
So if you're on Rainmaker Business Solutions, start looking over it. I've been writing a series called Summer Survival. Look over those. I also posted a digital newsletter yesterday. In that digital newsletter, I have a lot of tips for summer.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Nice to meet everybody.
Hey, nice talking to you, sir. We do these twice a week, one on Tuesday and one on Wednesday. So tomorrow it's William Pierce and I do this meeting. I usually record them. I think I forgot to hit record on this one. Actually, I didn't. I do have this recorded, so I'll put this on. And Dave, I've already talked to Zach about this. We're going to be getting back to you shortly. Zach is right in the middle of moving today. He'll be moved, and tomorrow we'll have an answer for you. Okay, everyone. Thank you. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Question.
Yes, sir.
If I wanted to schedule a meeting, where can I send? Do I send you on Facebook or?
Yeah, send me an email, greg@gregsilva.com.
Okay, Greg at gregsilva.com. The kids love the Black Belt Excellency stuff.
Oh, excellent. And I don't know if you and I are friends on Facebook, but friend me there too, because that's the easiest way to get a hold of me.
Thank you so much again. Thank
All right,
you.
sir. Thank you.